Are you still a Marxist?
Thank you for the question, Senator.
You don't have to thank me. We'll say you are welcome.
I am not, nor have ever been a Marxist.
Okay, that is Senator John Kennedy trying to smear one of President Joe Biden's judicial nominees, Melissa DuBose, by repeatedly referring to her as a Marxist. We're not gonna play all of the remarks, but we are gonna get into a little bit more of the questioning because you might say, why would he make this assertion of this woman? Well, in an interview back in 2000, the literal year 2000, which I did the math on this, was 24 years ago. She was working at a coffee shop and said that she was in her, quote, Marxist phase. So obviously, gotcha. And so that's the justification in his mind of this continued interaction. Let's jump to it.
You were describing your time working in a coffee shop. You said, quote, the kids would come into the cafe all the time. We'd talk about what they're doing. We'd talk about their classes. And I was in my Marxist phase. So you used to be a Marxist, but you're not now?
No, Senator, if I may, the context of the first of that interview, I had no idea that interview was something that was going to be published. I did an interview with the...
Did you mean what you said, whether it was published or not, or whether we'd find it? Trying to understand what you believe. You said I was in my Marxist phase.
Thank you, Senator.
Still in your Marxist phase, or was that in the past?
No, Senator, if I may explain.
Sure.
I was a political science major. When I graduated from college, I immersed myself in a ton of political theory. I read Hobbes, I read Locke, I read Rousseau, I read Marx. I went through a phase where I was into Eastern religion, where I read the Tao Te Ching, the Analects of Confucius.
Okay. Everything that she's saying there sounds reasonable, but it kind of undercuts the point that Kennedy wanted to make, which is that she said something that if you cut out just a couple of words from 2.5 decades ago, it makes it seem as if maybe she's a Marxist, which I guess is supposed to be a disqualification. And so it would be great if she would just stop talking. That's his running thought process to that. But we're gonna add one more fun element to this, which is that he wanted to go back 2.5 decades to imply that something that he thinks she thought back then means that that's what she believes forever. Well, it turns out that he himself has undergone some changes over time. And here is Senator Sheldon Whitehouse pointing that out.
20
minutes.
What
were you doing at the time?
I was teaching.
So this was before you even went to law school. This was
I was it was
many years ago.
It was, Senator.
Perhaps during the time when my colleague Senator Kennedy was a Democrat. Showing that people can change their views, even if it were true that you were then in a Marxist phase.
Senator Graham?
Mr. Chairman, my name was invoked.
I noticed.
As a proud Democrat, we were like that part of
My name was
history.
invoked, Mr. Chairman. Now, I just want to let the record reflect, and I love Senator Whitehouse. But I'll tell you one thing, I've never been a Marxist. I've never been a Marxist. And I've never admitted I was a Marxist and then not turned the document over to this committee.
Thank you. Let's agree on the following. A Louisiana Democrat's probably not a Marxist.
Okay, so we're very clear. He's not a Marxist. He was a Democrat. He is doing a fake accent to this day, but not a Marxist. Let's be clear about that. And so he's mad that she read Marx decades ago. He's mad that she didn't turn in an interview that she did while working at a coffee shop literally decades ago. And he's particularly mad that Sheldon Whitehouse pointed out that he did, in fact, used to be a Democrat. And not like a little bit, not like he was in his Democrat phase as he was working at a cafe. He ran for state attorney general in 1991 as a Democrat, was elected state treasurer 8 years later, still a Democrat. He was reelected to that position in 2003 and then ran for US Senate as a Democrat in 2004. It wasn't until 2007 that he became a Republican. So let's just be very clear about that. He went through decades and decades of his life being a Democrat and then suddenly switched, but she's the one that's got a problem.
That's actually pretty surprising. I would think that Kennedy was a Democrat back before they voted for the Civil Rights Act, and he was like, "That's it, I'm a leaving." I said, that's where I draw the line. First of all, amazing answer to the if you're in your Marxist phase, because if someone were to like approach me with that, I'd be like, "Yeah, I was, and I still am. I'm actually a Marxist. You know, I think we should see the world through class, and it's very important. And dictatorship of the proletariat. Let's go. Like sports is the opium, and religion is the opium of the masses, like on and on and on." Instead, she was like perfectly, and it's true, like that's what happens when you're reading a lot of Marx, you're in your Marxist phase. And no, there's nothing wrong with that. It's like a theorist, you just incorporate into your life the way people incorporate Joe Rogan wisdom into their life, as the right knows very well.
Yeah, I feel like if you're an artist and you're in your abstract phase, it's not like you can no longer be seen from one side. That's not how that works. But anyway, I would also say, look, when you are trying to become a judge or whatever, there's gonna be tough questions. I get that, there should be, and the tough questions should come from Democrats and they should come from Republicans. But I would just say, with the past years that we've just been through, did this chucklehead have a problem with Brett Kavanaugh's past? They thought it was so unfair that you would bring up that he had been accused of sexual assault by multiple people, but she was in her Marxist phase. Amy Coney Barrett is part of like an at least questionable religious sect now, not decades ago, now. Not fair. How dare you mention that? Because her ideology is couched as being religion, so it's off limits. You can't talk about it, even though it has obvious, direct, predictable political outcomes. But you guys, you did Marxism and you didn't couch in religion, so we get to attack you. So that's a little bit convenient, I think. And by the way, people are saying that he's not faking his accent. No, look, I'm just saying, the accusation is based on older video of him, that he is playing it up more and more as he gets older. So look, just take a look at the evidence is all I'm saying. Any other thoughts?
Oh, I think that, look, I wouldn't be surprised if he tanks this nomination, because he has tanked Biden appointees before using this exact same line of questioning. Are you now, or have you ever been part of the Communist Party? Are you a communist, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And it's worked, it has somehow worked. And Biden withdraws these candidates. So the point is, will Biden stick by this nominee, or will he retract and be like, okay, no, we'll go with someone else who never said they had a Marxist faith? I think the ball is in Biden's court.
Yeah. I would also say, since we're in this period where we are questioning whether maybe some of our elected leaders are mentally not quite there, or maybe lack the vigor and energy, a little bit slow as they get older, whatever. Like his response to the accusation that he was a Democrat, did it feel like it took 6 months to anyone else? Like just the inability to just get to the point, Grandpa. Come on.
I wasn't a Marxist.
I wasn't that. I wasn't a Marxist. Jesus, you've been in government for decades. Get to the point. Anyway, can we get some fresh blood is all I'm saying. Or some not fresh blood, but that still has the vigor. We have that. Bernie can express himself. Bernie at 90 is gonna be doing a better job than Senator Leghorn over here.